This conference will now be recorded.
Fine. So let us talk about the architecture and basics in the background. So example, I have a backup. I can restore the backup in three ways basically. This is where topic came, so I'm discussing here. So what are the ways, what are the restore states we do have? We have three restore states basically. I'm going to explain that because this is where I do discuss generally. So this is your backup file .bak file, and we are restoring into a database. You will get three options when you are restoring it. One is with recovery and with no recovery. We have discussed both of this. With no recovery, with standby. This we did not discuss. This will be in the discussed in the log shipping with standby. So when you make the database with recovery, when you are restoring from the backup a database with recovery, database goes into the online mode and it will be accessible for the people. And here database will be in restoring mode and people cannot read it. Here database will be standby read only mode, standby read only mode. This is how it looks like. What you can do here, we can read the data. Yes, we can read it. And we can write the data. Yes, you can write it. But apply differential diff backups, is it possible? Tell me guys. When the database is online, can we apply the differential backups? Yes or no?
No.
No, absolutely. You have to answer this question by this time. You cannot apply the log backup also. No further recovery is possible when the database is online. When the database in restoring mode, when you're doing the recovery further, you restore full backup with no recovery, differential with no recovery, all log backup with no recovery. That time you cannot read a database because it is under recovery. Write also you cannot do. But you can apply the differential backup, you can apply the log backups. Okay, in that state. And
Like
when the database, uh-huh.
Ravinder, if application pool got stopped means then we can go the differential backup with recovery, right?
Application, what are you talking? What is about it? Like it's something related, something else you are talking. Application is something, if they are stopping, you are going to do some migration, you are going to do something else, then application will be stopped. In this case, no need. It's irrelevant
No,
question to this. Can you complete your question completely?
no content.
Can you? That's application. There is no relation here actually with application. So when the database in standby mode, you can read but you cannot write, and you cannot apply the differential backup, but you can apply the log backups. These are the things you need to keep in mind when you are restoring a database. Let me show all this through Wizard. I worked with the command only so far. Through Wizard, go to here, restore database. I'll show all those things basically. So from device, some backup device, I'm going to restore ADV1. Okay, from device where the backup is, I have to browse. I guess I kept all the backups under somewhere. Right here, I have the adventure work. Fine. When I'm going to restore a database, okay, in the file section, where you are restoring, it is just pointing. That's fine. Here you have the three options basically. One is overwrite here. Where are with the replace? Here you can see with no recovery, it is hidden or what? With the recovery, with no recovery.
With replace first.
Here,
First.
right. So here you can see the with the recovery, with no recovery, with standby. These are the three states you do have when you are restoring a database generally. So this will apply when you're recovering a database. So when you're configuring the lock shipping, you have to keep the secondary database in standby mode only, because you wanted to read the secondary database. And this is possible when you are restoring on the same version to same version. Let me talk about this. SQL 2000 server, SQL 2005 server backup. If you restore on the SQL 2005 itself, then standby can be, supported. If not, it will not be. Let me explain this further. S 2008 to the SQL Server 2008 backup, and I'm trying to restore on the SQL Server 2008 itself. Then it will be supported standby. If it is 2008 R2 server backup, and if I'm doing on the restore also 2008 R2, then standby is supported. What does it mean? Whatever the version you take the database backup, you are trying to restore on the same version, then standby will be supported. If you go with a crash version, standby will not support. That option will not be available. If I am taking the backup on 2016, I have to restore on 2016 only, then only standby will support. If I go with the crash version, means different version, standby is not available. Standby will not support, it will throw the error basically. So in that case, you have to go with the no recovery when you configure the lock shipping. You can configure the lock shipping two ways. When the database in restoring mode also you can configure, when the database in standby mode, read-only mode also you can configure. But we always prefer this mode. Why? Because people can read the secondary. In this case, people cannot read it basically, which is a drawback. This can give a data protection as well as it is also making you read the secondary database, which is a benefit here. So we will always keep the database in standby mode in the real time, so that people can read from the secondary and the right operation can happen on the primary. This is something you need to keep in mind. So backup, this is another major point you need to note down here. A backup can be restorable in standby mode when you are restoring within the version, within the same version. I'm taking the backup into the 12. If I'm restoring onto the 12 itself, then it is supported. If I go with the crash version, you cannot do it. What happened to the people? Network issues? Prasad also went offline, Sagar, actually. Some issues or what?
Check with him.
Yes, true.
Yeah. This is something they have to attend. If they don't listen this is something dependent discussion. What's problem, Suresh? You are getting network issues?
Now it's fine.
Okay, fine. So understand this point, especially. Standby is only supported when you restore a backup within the version or the same version. If you go with, if I'm restoring SQL 2005 server backup into 2008, standby will not be supported. Standby always should be within the version. Keep this point in mind, especially. Okay, this must be, you need to know. And also all versions, it should match. If you are enterprise, there are editions of SQL Server. I did not talk about this. Editions of SQL Server. Let me talk about this very quickly, guys. What are the edition do you know so far? What are the editions of SQL servers we do have? Anyone can tell? Enterprise edition,
Standard edition,
standard edition.
express
These,
edition.
yeah, these are the two editions, especially we use in the production basically. Express edition, developer edition, web edition, work group edition. These are the editions of SQL servers we do have. And also and also if I'm restoring a database from enterprise to enterprise, then only it is supported, and the addition to standard, express to express. So there are actually dependencies when you are restoring a database in standby mode. It should be absolutely same version and same edition. Basically we need to follow that. That is a rule for configuring the lock shipping. You need to have the same similar identical servers, like 2008.2 enterprise edition, another server also 2008.2 enterprise edition, then only standby will be supported. else it will not be supported. Keep in mind, versions are different, editions are different. Versions means 2000, 2005, 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, 14, 16, 19. All these are the versions of SQL servers. Editions mean in each version these editions are available in each version. So don't confuse your editions and versions should be same to restore a database in a standby mode. It is mandatory thing. One thing you need to understand. Then a recovery model. Recovery model must be full or bulk locked recovery model. This is the prerequisite you have to follow. Recovery model must be full or bulk locked. It will not support, this technology will not support if the database is in simple recovery model. This is the minimum prerequisites you need to have on the server to make the database under lock shipping configuration. First, target server also should be in the same version, same edition, and recovery model of the database must be full or bulk locked only. It will not support in a simple recovery model. Why? Because in simple recovery model, lock entries will be truncated, no log backup can be available, so lock shipping cannot happen. Lock shipping is happens through log backups only. We will see that configuration mostly tomorrow. Fine. So let's talk about the architecture of the lock shipping first. These are the prerequisites. First, you need to understand within the version you need to restore, and addition also mandatory, and recovery model is also mandatory for configuring the lock shipping. Let's talk about the architecture of lock shipping first. Understand, if you understand this, you can understand the whole concept basically. If you have any question, keep asking.
Ravindra,
Ravinder, I have one doubt.
Ravindra,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this one standby read-only mode.
Mhm.
Readable is as you have written. So standby database is readable. That is my question actually.
Yes, it is readable. It is readable. And you can
Uh,
restore the log backups when it is readable. At the same
okay,
time, it's not actually when after restore is done, it will when the restoring is going on, it will go turn into restoring mode only. Once the restore is done, it will turn into standby read only mode. People can read it.
okay,
Ravindra,
okay.
yeah, Ravindra.
Yeah.
Apart from this, there are other prerequisites, right? Like service account should be same, and also network bidirectional will be required, and also UDP
That
port also same.
let me explain in the architecture that part. This is something overall outer layer. I'm going to explain that in the architecture. What should be there, what not should be there. Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk about that. No need to worry. So let me explain the architecture. This is concludes, the overall functionality of the lock shipping you need to know. So basically you have a primary server. We'll call it as primary and secondary in the lock shipping. Names are important. In the mirroring, you'll call mirror, principal, mirror, and witness. So let's talk about here. This is a primary server, and this is a secondary server. And you mandatorily have a network path to configure the lock shipping. If you do within the machine, does not make any sense. So if you have to move it to other server, you need to have a network path. Fine. You will have a database. Of course, this is a primary database, and this is a secondary database. Primary DB, and this is a secondary DB. Fine. Now, like there is like when you configure the lock shipping, there will be three jobs. There will be three jobs will be created. Okay. On the primary server, there will be backup job. I'm explaining the functionality, not the configuration yet. When I configure it, I'll explain everything. So this backup job every 15 minutes push the log backups into network path. From the network path, there will be a copy job on the secondary server. There will be copy job on the secondary server, which copies a log backups from the network path and dump into the local drive, one of the local drive in the secondary server. From the local drive, there will be restore job will pick up and restore into the secondary database. That is the mechanism we'll follow here. This is the backup job, backup, and it happens every 15 minutes. You can actually control this schedule. Copy job. This is a copy job. By default,
Backup, transaction log
mhm,
backup, right?
yes,
Okay.
log backup. It is a log backup. .trn backups. So here the backups will run through the SQL agent job. SQL agent job means SQL agent service account should have the read write permission on the network path. This is something very important. SQL agent here, primary server, SQL agent service account should have read write permissions on the network path. This is very important. Okay.
ఇది తెలుగులో చెప్పండి అరవింద్. అంటే సర్వీస్ అకౌంట్ షుడ్ బి సేమ్ కదా, అంటే
సేమ్
ఎందుకు సేమ్?
వెయిట్ సేమ్ అవసరం లేదు.
ఓకే.
డిఫరెంట్ ఉన్నా పర్లేదు, బట్ ఆ సర్వీస్ అకౌంట్స్ కి సపరేట్ ఉన్నా కానీ ఇక్కడ ఏమవ్వాలంటే రైట్స్ ఉండాలి. ఇట్ షుడ్ నాట్ బి సేమ్, ఇట్ కెన్ బి డిఫరెంట్ యాజ్ వెల్. ఇఫ్ యూ కీప్ సేమ్ ఇట్స్ ఫైన్, బట్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్ ఇట్ వర్క్స్. సెకండరీ సర్వర్ సర్వీస్ అకౌంట్ ఈజ్ secondary server SQL agent service account should have read permission. Write is not required. Why? Because it is only copying the backups, it's not writing the backups. Read permission and the network path. So if it this one and if both the servers are having a different agent account means this is the guys agent account means, let me explain.
అంటే నెట్వర్క్
There is
పాత్లో
an
నెట్వర్క్
go
పాత్లో 2
ahead.
ఫోల్డర్స్ ఉంటాయి.
Network path లో 2 folders ఎందుకు?
అంటే అందులో మీరు చెప్పారు కదా సర్వీస్ అకౌంట్స్ రెండు 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 వైపులా సేమ్, అంటే రెండు వైపు ఉండాలని సర్వీస్ అకౌంట్స్. మరి ఇక్కడ అంటే నాకు డయాగ్రామెటిక్ గా కొంచెం
అదే ఇప్పుడు ఎస్క్యూఎల్ ఏజెంట్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది, ఇక్కడ ఉంది. దీని ఎస్క్యూఎల్ ఏజెంట్ ఏదైతే ఉందో ఆ ఎస్క్యూఎల్ ఏజెంట్ ఇక్కడ రీడ్ రైట్ పర్మిషన్ ఉండాలి. ఈ ఎస్క్యూఎల్ ఏజెంట్ కు రైట్ పర్మిషన్ ఉంటే చాలా సేమ్ అని ఉండాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు అక్కడ.
ఓకే
It has its own SQL agent account and it has its own service account.
ఓకే
That service account should have the read write permission, the network path. And here it is a different server, different agent account. That account should have the read permission on the network. That's it. No need to
ఓకే
be same. No need to be same. They can be different. No issues.
అండర్స్టూడ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Okay. Now the thing is, how does the log shipping work? That is the question. Log shipping works basically through 3 jobs. Through backup, copy, restore. The backup job on the primary database which will take the log backup for every 15 minutes and generates the log backup and stores the .trn files in the network path. You have to explain this thing very clearly. All these are actually .trn log backups because they are log backups.
వాట్
Backup,
ఈస్ డిఫరెన్స్ డాట్ టిఆర్ అండ్ డబ్ల్యూఆర్కే డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటి రవీందర్?
I'll explain. Hold on. That is WRK will come when we configure it. No need to worry. So you have to explain this architecture. Very important question it is. They will ask you how does lock shipping works, the basic functionality of the lock shipping. Lock shipping works through 3 jobs basically: backup, copy, restore. Backup job will present on the primary server and takes the primary database backup every 15 minutes and loads the log backups into the network path. And the secondary server copy job runs every 15 minutes again and copies the transaction log backup into the local directory. Here this is a local directory, means secondary server local directory.
లైక్ మన లైక్ ల్యాప్టాప్ లో లోకల్ డిస్క్ లాగా రవీందర్.
Right. And the restore job will pick up the files in the sequential order and then restore into secondary database. So this will also, you have to keep the same scheduler for all the jobs basically. If you keep 5 minutes, I'll explain about the scheduler when it comes to the configuration, not now. Let by default 15 minutes, let's talk about 15 minutes. When do we change, when do we don't change, we'll talk about that. First understand the architecture here. The whole discussion is about the architecture. Fine, let me explain as the last thing. This is how you have to explain. Log shipping works through basically 3 jobs. One is called backup, second is copy, and third is a restore job. This is the one. And the primary server backup will, backup job will present, and the backup job will take the log backup of primary database every 15 minutes and dump the backups into the network path. From the network path, copy job and the secondary server will copy the all transaction log backup in the sequential order and dump into the local directory, local drive of secondary server. From the local directory of secondary server, restore job will pick up the transaction log back in the sequential order and restore into secondary database. This is the functionality I explains. It is going like this. So here, if I do any change here, example, it will take 15 minutes to take the backup, 15 minutes to copy, 15 minutes to restore. Maximum window between the primary and secondary to sync up is 45 minutes. In a worst case, they run parallel, not parallelly, one after the other. Maybe within 20 minutes itself we'll get the update, but the maximum window can be 45 minutes. Yes, there will be delay in the log shipping. It's not something, like it's a data warehouse servers. They use this concept. Why? Because they don't need the data immediately. They might need yesterday data, last 1 hour data, last 3 hours data, not immediate live data. So log shipping cannot give the immediate data. Mirroring can give the immediate data, but there are drawbacks between the log shipping and mirroring. We'll talk about that. Let's understand the technology first. I'll explain the clear-cut scenario. When do you go for the mirroring? When do you go for the log shipping? I'll give a quick clear-cut idea. No need to worry. First, understand the functionality. So primary server, primary DB, secondary DB, backup, copy, restore. These are the three things you need to know in the log shipping. The rest are all simple terminology. Like backup is taking the primary database backup every 15 minutes, taking into network path, and from network path copy job on the second server, copying and dumping into local drive. From the local drive, restore job is picking the transaction log back in the sequential order and restoring into secondary database. This is how the log shipping works. That's how you have to explain how does log shipping works means. Understood, guys? This is the architecture, nothing else in the log shipping.
Yeah, understood. And Ravinder, this network path we will create. It is like shared folder in a
Oh,
primary server, right?
it
Like
can be on the
this network
primary,
path.
it can be
Yeah, okay.
anywhere, but that should be accessible. So how do we create it? How do we make it accessible? Let's see that. Okay. So I can go to a drive, I can go to where it is data and backup. I have the here. I can go to here properties and then share the folder. And I'm sharing with whom actually. Example, if I'm just sharing it, assume I guess, if I'm just sharing it, so it will create a shared path like this. Shared path like this. Okay, who can access this share basically? Who can access that share? Uh, who has given the permission on that share when it is created? So
Okay.
then I can go to the share again. Now if I wanted to give the permission to Ravindra again, here is the owner. If I create another one, example, another user, then I can go to here, I can add that guy, create a new user, like if there any user, add and then give the permission to that guy. That's it. It is very simple, like creating a SQL account in the SQL server, browsing it and then finding him and giving the permission. The same way here as well. So if example, if I wanted to give him create a new user, there is no find case here because I don't have too many users here. That's why it is disabled. Else you'll get the add button enabled basically. I have only one user called Ravinder. If I create multiple users in the laptop, it will display when I log in every time. So that's why I did not create. But if I have a multiple logins, then this will be enabled, and then you can add that guy into the share so that it can be any account. It should be in the domain. It can be accessible. The machine is should be in the domain. Domain accounts can be added. The primary server SQL agent service account, secondary server SQL agent account will be added, and then that share will be accessible between the both the servers in that case. So this can be created by some network guy, I mean the Windows guy sometimes. We can also create ourselves if they give the path where we can share it. Even I have done many a times this. So that something is as a prerequisite for your log shipping. So your database must be full or bulked, and your server version and edition must be identical. It should not be different, and also it should be at the same service pack level. It is very important. Again, it should be SP1 if it is SQL Server. SQL Server 2012 Enterprise SP2. Assume again SP2 Service Pack 2. Exactly, and the secondary server also should be on the same service pack, same version, and same edition. All should match. Identical means what? Same. It should be same. Then only the standby will support. If not, it'll throw the errors. Means standby will not support. You can configure the log shipping, keeping the database in restoring mode. Let us do it now. Let us do
Even
the
the
configuration now. I
even the
mean log shipping.
Ident
storage and drives, even the
Yeah.
storage and drives should be same, right? Drive names and storage level.
No, 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 no. It's not mandatorily same. It could be anything. The storage could be anything. We'll talk about that now. Drives can be could be any mirroring. It must be the same, but in log shipping, it could be anything. That's not a big problem here. If these are same versions or different versions, I'm not sure. If they are different, test 15. This at least. This is default.
సో నెట్వర్క్ బైడైరెక్షన్ అంటే నెట్వర్క్ పాత్ ఈవెన్ ప్రైమరీ సర్వర్ అండ్ సెకండరీ సర్వర్ బోత్ ఏబుల్ టు యాక్సెస్. ఓకే, అదేనా రవీందర్?
ఇక్కడ అకౌంట్ ఇక్కడ ఏం కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉంది యాక్చువల్లీ. ఇక్కడ ఏదైతే అకౌంట్ ఇక్కడ యాడ్ చేస్తావు ఇక్కడ అంతే. ప్రైమరీ సర్వర్ ఏస్కిల్ ఏజెంట్ సర్వీస్ అకౌంట్ కి రీడ్ రైట్స్ పర్మిషన్ ఇస్తావు. ఇది డిఫరెంట్
ఓకే,
అకౌంట్. ఇక్కడ డిఫరెంట్ అకౌంట్ ఉంది, దానికి రీడ్ పర్మిషన్ ఇస్తావు. స్టోరీ ఎండెడ్. ఇంకా ఇక్కడ ఏం నెట్వర్క్ పాత్ మాత్రం మనకు ఉండాల్సిందే. కన్ఫ్యూ
ఓకే,
ఎందుకంటే నువ్వు
ఓకే,
ఇక్కడ ఒక సర్వర్ నుంచి ఇంకో సర్వర్ షిఫ్ట్ చేస్తున్నావు కదా డేటాని.
ఓకే. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Yeah, Ravinder, this secondary
సో
server is
లెట్
located
మీ
in within the data center, or it is located in somewhere within the state?
it can be anywhere. That should be in your domain. That's it. It could be same state, it could be different country also, it will work. E should be in your domain,
Okay.
because one company can be in multiple locations, multiple countries. Why? Because nowadays businesses are diversified. So now let us do the lock shipping between these two servers. They are on the same version, same, like everything is same. You can see the code and all. So what I'll do, agent is not started. Agent must be started. Why? Because we are dependent on the SQL agent jobs. So two must be started, and this must be started. Understand? Very
Okay.
simple
Yeah.
technology. It is very, very simple.
Okay. So if primary server is standard edition means automatically secondary server should be also standard edition, right? Like that, Ravinder.
Not automatically. You have to choose. You have to choose. Both should be same. It's not
Okay,
automatic.
both editions should be same, like
You have to
enterprise
choose
and
before. Right.
okay.
So now I have a database example. One is class one, only one here. And this it has three. So database configuration. So fine. Class one, fine. This is my primary, and let me see. Do I have anything here? Okay, I have two tables. Fine. Two tables are enough for us for our discussion. Do I have any data here? Yes, I do. This is enough. So now what I'll do, I'll configure the lock shipping. First, what you have to do, your job is to do take the full backup. You have to initialize the data first. You have to initialize the data first in the secondary server manually. It is a manual process basically. Automatically also you can do. I'll talk about that as well. I would suggest go with the manual configuration, not automatic. Automatic means I'll show that applies to small databases, not to the big databases. So now I'm going to take the backup somewhere. Why did I open these many parts? Fine, this is my share. And These are all, I'm going to delete them. I don't want. Fine. Now I want to take the full backup here. That's fine. Backup database class 1 to disk. Just I'm taking the full backup. That's it. You have to take this way only. Class.bak. And if it is a large, always go with the stats, comma, compression also. It's a good practice. Okay. Fine. Now I wanted to restore in the secondary server. Go to here, restore, and then device. Here, database name must be same. It must be same. It should be same name. And here I cannot browse the network path. I cannot browse the network path here. Why? Because when you are browsing the path, it will display only local paths. It does not show the network path that is there in the wizard case. If I do it through query, it does not require. Directly you can do it. So through wizard, how would I do that? So go to the network path here. Backup is generated here, full backup. Now what I'll do, add. In the add, just you give the whole path. You cannot browse it. So what is the backup file name? Class.bak. Just you have to type it and give it. That's it. There is no options left when it is a network path. Click it OK and click it OK. It will pick up if it is a valid network, else it will not pick up. And now I have to restore this database in, okay, it is trying to do in the same directories and same server. This cannot happen. See, this is in the original locations are same, the target are also same. So what should I do? I have to change this target location because it is the same machine. If it is a real time, both the servers are different, then fine. The source location is this and the target is same. It's absolutely fine. But source and target both are same in my machine, and they are going into the same folder. It will fail. F data, F data, F data, F data. So it is these names are already claimed by the primary. I have to change it to the this thing to something else. Okay. I'll create a separate folder for lock shipping better, not to confuse. So this is what I'm going to choose for the secondary server. I can directly paste it. I can even browse it. I can go here, I can browse the path what I created, but I can even paste it. Now this is fine. Okay. Now I can go to the options. Here I'll go to the with standby. I'll go with the standby. Okay. Why standby? Because people can read it. People can get the advantage, when you do in a standby mode. We always do in standby mode in the real time. Why? Because you're getting the benefit out of it. Now just click it OK. So very simple. You are given a database name. You browse the backup. When you are browsing the backup, you cannot browse the network path. Every time you have to give a complete network path slash and the complete file name and click it OK. It will pick up the file from that network if your service account has the permissions. SQL Server service account. If not, it will not pick up the file. So now here you have to change the destination directories and the targets or whatever the directories are there. You just keep it and then go to the options and choose the with standby mode. Click it OK. Now database will be restored, which is a initialization is done. This is a manual initialization. How do we do the automatic? We will see that. See, if it is in standby mode, if it is standby, I can go to the database. I can read the tables. I can read the data. All that we'll see. So now we have done the manual initialization. Let's do the configuration now. Very simple. I took the full backup. I restored in standby mode. That's it. Go to the primary server and the primary database properties. And then go to the transaction lock shipping. Okay, enable this as a primary database in lock shipping. I need to just click over it. Then only other options will be available. I know that this is the primary, so I'm enabling it. When you enable it, it will allow you to give the network path. Network path is this which we built. You have to give the network path for sure here. It will export the lock backups every CR. It is creating a job ls backup underscore class 1. It is creating the backup job with this name, and it is going to run every 15 minutes. See, occurs every 15 minutes between 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., which is 24/7. Every 15 minutes job will run, and then it will take the backup into the network path. Okay, that's how it is. So now if I wanted to change the schedule, I can change it from 15 minutes to 10 minutes or 1 minute, whatever it is. So, but you don't do that. Why you don't do that? I'll explain when we discuss the issues, not now. Why the schedule should be, it should have a 15 minutes window. By default, we'll keep 15 minutes. By default, we have to let it that window. So why we will keep, we have a discussion. So fine, every 15 minutes backups are going and storing in the network. So how long they will be maintained in the network? That is a question. If they are not cleaned up, the network path will get flooded after a while, which is not a good thing, right? So that's why it is creating a job, automatic delete job. See, delete the folders older than 72 hours in that from this path, from the network path. The job itself will do the backup, and also it will delete the log backups which are older than 72 hours. Older means if it is passing 72 hours means how many days? 3 days. 3 days of backups, older backups automatically will be cleaned up. And also every 15-minute job is happening, but if the backup, go
Yeah,
ahead
is it
fast.
sending the deleted is it sending the deleted files to data warehouse, or like simply deleting the data
It is
for
deleting the
for
files,
every
not the data. Log
okay,
for every.
okay, for every 3 days it will
It
delete the
is
files,
deleting the
right?
backup.
So
Yes, yes.
yeah, like is it dumping to data warehouse, or like simply deleting the files?
What there is no dumping kind of data warehouse. This is a file, physical log backup files here. It is exporting
Okay,
here. From here it is deleting. There is no data warehouse again. This is a secondary. It's not restoring or doing anything, just cleaning up the files from there. It is already been restored, right? Through the jobs. So why you
okay,
require there? So basically
okay,
we'll keep 72 hours. Why 72 hours? It is getting restored within 45 minutes. Then why we are keeping 72 hours? There is a reason. There is a reason for 72 hours. I'm going to explain that as well. Not now. When we discuss the issues part, all will make sense. At the moment, understand the
okay,
configuration is creating the job, which is called a backup job with this name, and it is going to run every 15 minutes, and it is going to delete the backup job from the network folder after 72 hours. All
okay,
for backup files which are get the age of 72 hours automatically cleaned up. And
okay,
if the log backup is failed, if the log backup is failed for 1 hour, here alert if no backup occurs within that 1 hour. If within the 1 hour log backup is not happened, then you'll get a mail. So and so server, so and so log backup is not happening. I am going to explain that as well. No need to worry. So now I'm clicking on this one. Nothing you have to do here. Just give the network path and click it OK. Nothing else. Keep as it is all the defaults. You don't change in the real time as well. Just give the network path and click it OK. And this one. Now we need to add the secondary server. What is our secondary server? This is a primary SQL2. Second is default Ravinder PC. So I'm going to add that secondary server. I'll connect here to the default. This is my default. When I connect, it chooses the last option. No, the secondary database is initialized. It is detected already. We have initialized the database with the class 1 and class 1. It is detected. That's why it picked up the last option. If you don't initialize, it will take the full backup automatically. It will restore onto the secondary automatically. It does automatically. So where it will take the backup, it will take the backup into the network path where we have given here automatically. So as the database is already initialized, it took the last option. That's fine. Copy. Where it has to copy the log backups? That is a question on the secondary server. So I'll create another folder here. Log shipping secondary. This is a very big path. Fine. I wanted to copy the backups here from network to here. And also it is creating the copy job on the SQL2, which is a secondary automatically. I'm configuring from the primary, but still it is creating the job on the secondary. and here occurs every 15 minutes, and also it deletes the backups from the local directory. The copy job also will delete the backup from the local directory after 72 hours. The same way backup job does, the copy job also will delete the log backups after the 72 hours automatically. Okay. Next, restore. Here is the actual thing you need to know. If the database is, you are doing the log shipping between the cross versions, you have to go with the no recovery. If you are doing within the same version, same edition, and everything is identical, go with this one. We always go with the identical. We always go with the identical. And this thing is very, very, very important. Disconnect the users in the database when restoring the backup. If you don't check this one, what happens? Someone is reading the secondary database, restore will fail because database is in use. Log backup will not apply to the secondary database if someone is getting used. So if you do in this configuration, all people will be disconnected and the restore will trigger. All operations will fail because you have given that configuration in the setup. The setup, what it does, it will disconnect all the people, then the restore will take the highest priority. If I don't do this one, if someone is using and reading a database, your restore will fail. So you must and should select this option, else you'll get a lot of issues in the log shipping. A lot of issues means all resource will fail, you'll get the unnecessary alerts. So the first priority to the data, not to the read operations here. That's why we are keeping a 15 minutes window at least to restore. Within 15 minutes window, they can read some data. If you are restoring, every 1 minute, they cannot read it. Within 1 minute, they cannot pull the data, right? So every 1 minute, all connections will be disconnected. So they don't have a window to read it. You have given a database in the standby read only mode, they can read it, but the restore is killing off all the sessions every minute, then that's useless. So at least you are giving a 15 minutes window. For that reason, they will have a window to read 15 minutes. If they wanted to do very some queries wanted to run more than 15 minutes, you have to change this value to 30 minutes. Yes, you have to change it. Copy 15 minutes, backup 15 minutes, restore will 30 minutes.
Voice breaking in Ravinder.
Restore
Ravinder,
will kill the sessions.
voice break in Ravinder. Copy 15 minutes, backup 15 minutes, తర్వాత restore 15 minutes. Hello, hello.
Go ahead.
Ravinder. అంటే
What happened?
yeah, and maximum 45 minutes. So after 45 minutes, that should kill the session, Ravinder.
Not maximum. This is something 45 minutes alert. Alert means if copy or restore does not happen within 45 minutes, it will throw the alert. That is not I'm talking about here.
Okay,
Schedule for the restore. If the schedule is running every 15 minutes, if the restore schedule is running every 15 minutes, what happens? Every 15 minutes, the user's connections will be disconnected automatically, and then
okay,
restore will trigger. This will
okay,
forcibly kill all the sessions. So
okay,
if they are complaining that our sessions are very frequently killing and we are not getting the window to read the data from the secondary, so in that case you increase the scheduler here from 15 to 30 minutes so that they will get the good window to read the data from the secondary. It is
okay,
again based on the user's input, you have to do this. Okay.
okay,
So click it OK.
okay,
Before that, what we have given, it took the last option. We have given the where it has to copy, and the third option is standby mode, disconnect is mandatory, and the scheduler what you want to give by default 15. Let this 15 minutes. That's fine. Click it OK, and then nothing you have to do. Here you are given here in the only the backup path, and then nothing you have done here. Just click it OK, and then click it OK. It will configure the lock shipping. That's it. Very simple process, lock shipping configuration. Damn simple. Anybody can do it. There is no complexity in the lock shipping configuration, but there is a complexity when you actually support it. That issues and all, I'm going to explain in and out. No need to worry. So now let me do something on the table and then show you how does the data will propagate to there. going to edit. I'm going to enter 11th record, Prasad, 12th record, Sagar, 13th record, Sagar, Vasu, 14th record, just few records, Suresh, 10th record. Just example, I'm entering some data like this, and this data will be available on the secondary automatically. So let me do this, and data is there in the table now. But is this data is in the secondary now? Yes or no? If I go to the secondary server here, if I try to read the table, do we find the data immediately here? No, you don't find. What should I do to make the data available there? First, I need to run the log backup. I can wait till it runs, but we cannot wait for 15 minutes here. So it is created a backup. It will create the alert. Alert part I'm going to explain tomorrow. First, let's talk about the functionality. So job is here. ls backup. I'll run the backup. When I run the backup, what happens basically? It will take the log backup here in the network path. This is a network path. So I'm running the backup job. So once I run this, it will generate the backup. See, log backup automatically here. Now I'll come to the secondary server. There is a copy and restore both. When I run the copy job, it will copy the log backup automatically into this directory, because the configuration we have given the paths, right? So now if I come back here, he was asking about work file, right? When the file is copying, the file extension here, it will write a work file. Why it is work file? The restore should not pick up the file till it is completely copied. When the copy job is copying the backup from the network path to local directory, from this path, network path to local directory, till it is copied, it is will be the name extension of the file is work file. Why it is work file? Why? Because the restore does not know that whether the file is copied completely or not, so it will pick up the file. That will lead into error. That's the reason the product will make the file as a work file first. Once it is complete copy is copied completely, then it will turn into the transactional log backup. Okay, that is a work file he was asking. There is a question, right, from Kiran Raju.
Yeah,
So
I have
now what
confused.
should
Yeah, like
go on.
double RK files mean like committed file, right? Committed one is double RK, uncommitted .trn, right?
No man, there is no committed uncommitted here. It's file level activity. It is file level. The copy is happening file to file. When the copy is in progress, the file extension is WRK, work
Okay,
file.
not okay.
So till
Okay,
it is completely copied, the restore should not pick up that file. That's why
okay.
it is a WRK.
Okay.
So now I am running the restore job. Right. Once this is done, you'll find the data. Right. If I come back to the SQL Server now here in the table, I can absolutely find the data because restore is done. See, whatever the data I entered just now, I got all the data. So this is something, a delayed process. Yes, it is a delayed process. It's not immediate action, but you are protecting here data, maximum data loss. Maximum data loss could be 40 to 15 to 45 minutes, 15 minutes to 45 minutes. Instead of losing all data, 45 minutes data is safe, right? 45 minutes losing 45 minutes data is good. Instead of losing all your data throughout the 10 years ago, your data is created, and from the beginning 10 years to till today, you're protecting only 45 minutes data at risk. Not 45 minutes, it could be 20 minutes maximum. there could be a chance of data loss. If your backups are corrupted in the log shipping is also not working, both the cases you might be under data loss. That is a worst situation I never faced and no one can face. Maybe it can be the situation in your case. Maybe in the worst case the log shipping database is broken and the secondary has some not all the data example, but recovery can happen through the backups. Maximum data layers can be 15 minutes only in log shipping. I'll talk about that in the recovery part. When we do the recovery using the log shipping, I'll talk about that. What is the data loss can be. So someone was asking, trying to ask a question. No, right? So now what I'll
Here,
do,
uh,
yeah,
when you
yeah,
extend this through commands, you have used in wizard, right? So
what
completely with commands we will do, right, in real time. So
I'm going
this
to
log
explain.
shipping.
I'm going to explain the issues tomorrow. Today I'm discussing about the functionality. No need to worry. There are a lot of
Okay.
things I need to lot of things I need to discuss. So now what I'm
Okay.
trying to do, I'm going to create a new login called test. Today only the functionality. Log issues I'll discuss tomorrow. So
Not
I'm
the issues
creating
I'm
just a
asking.
log.
Sorry to interrupt you. This log shipping configuration completely through commands we can do, right? Can you explain that?
Completely through command. Yes, I'll show that. When you're doing through the wizard, at the end you take the script and run it. That's it. I'll show that. No need to worry. The
Okay.
wizard itself will give the complete command how to configure it. So I'll give that. No need to worry. I'll
Okay.
just show before I finish it how
Okay.
to take
We
the
can
complete command.
script out, right? Like if we click on
Yeah,
script,
script out and run. That's it.
and also
I'll show
even
that.
okay. With syntax also it is possible, right? Syntax command.
Syntax itself, it will generate everything. The complete command that is comes with the syntax.
Okay.
So now I created a login called test. I'm going to create the login as user in the database. No need to worry, every question will be answered by the end of this module. You can keep asking that tomorrow, all questions will be welcomed. Why? Because all about the issues only. Now, user is created. User is created in the database, the test user. If I run the backup, copy, restore, will the user also propagates to the target? What do you think? That is a question.
Think
What do you
no.
think? If I run the no, why no? Why yes? If someone says yes, why yes and why no?
Can you please repeat the question, Ravinder?
I created a user in the primary database. Will that user will reflect in the secondary database? That is a question.
Yeah, it will reflect.
It has
Yeah,
to
it
reflect
should reflect.
everything. Yeah. Whatever happened in primary database should reflect.
Yeah, within the database level, it is absolutely reflect in the secondary. Whatever you do, you create a table, you create a user, give a permission, whatever you do at a database level, it is absolutely the exact copy of it on the target. So yes, the users will migrate. So now what I'll do, I'll run the, let me show it up first. Before I run that, I can go to the database, go to the security, go to users. There is no test user at the moment. So what I'll do, I'll come back to the here, I'll run the backup first. When I run the backup, it will take the backup. Where it will take the backup in the network path. You can see it. Now, next I'll run the copy. So there is one more file that was automatically ran because scheduler has triggered. Next, what I'll do, I'll run the restore. By the time I refresh, so you can see it in recovery, which means that it is restoring it actually. When this is there, people cannot read. Once completely it is restored, then it will come to the standby read-only mode. Now, if I come here, if I go to here, if I look at the user, I can find the test. The users are automatic, but not the login. Login is at server level, right? Just the login user is migrated, but not the login. Login is something manual. You have to do it manually. There's no automatic kind of thing. right? So whatever you do exactly, it will happen on the target. Exactly, it will happen on the target. So there was a question from Sagar, I guess, right? How to get the script. Let
Yeah.
me create a test database. So
We
fine.
had
Okay, I have not initialized the database. I have not done anything at the moment. So what I'll do, I'll configure the lock shipping, one more lock shipping. One more lock shipping means one more network path I needed, one more local path also I needed. That's how it is. You should not mess up. So I'll go to here, lock shipping. I'll keep data one. Under that, I'll share the backup, one more folder. I'll give the everyone add read write to everyone. I'm giving it. Everyone means everyone can do anything, but in real time you have to give the specific accounts. This is another backup path for configuring the lock shipping for other database. So I don't do any initialization. It will do on its own. Everything will be done by the system itself. But this you have to do this on only small databases. For large database, do it manually so that you'll have a full control. Go to database, properties, go to transaction lock shipping, enable it, and then give the network path where you wanted to take the backup. That's fine. And then keep all as it is all defaults. That's fine. Add the secondary server, which is secondary is our default. Here it picked up the first option. Why? Because we did not initialized it. In the first case, we initialized, that why it took the last option. It knows it. So here we did not initialize, so it is what it is doing is generate the full backup of the primary database and restore into the secondary server, where it will generate the actually backup in the network path. Okay, again, it has to copy the backups. Where it will copy, it also required another path to copy. So just close it off. Okay, no, it is still here. Okay, where I was. So this is a network path, and here data. I'll keep new directory for the other one, secondary. I'll keep this is enough. Fine, another different local path is a different configuration altogether. So choosing standby. So now we don't have a database. Which one? The test database. The wizard will do everything for you because you have chosen that option here. It is copying the once the backups are done in the network path, it will copy here automatically and the restore in standby mode. But where it will take the backup when it is taking, it will take into the network path we given here. So click it OK. Click it OK. First it will take the backup, see, then it will restore into second server, then it will configure the lock shipping. Everything is done by the system. You don't need to do anything. So where it has taken the full backup automatically, right? So it will take into the network path which we are given in the backup configuration in the first step. Okay. Array shit, forgot to. Very sorry. Let me do it again. I forgot to take the script. He asked me the script, right? Fine, anything, I'll just create a new database and take the script. I don't configure it. Let me do it.
So you're
Here,
actively maintaining 2 copies.
yes, 2 copies now. 2 databases, 2 configuration, 2 copies. 2 database as well, because 2 databases we took, right? So now I'm going to show the how to get the command. I mean, you are set through command, right? This is how we do get it. Okay, connect to this thing. That's fine. So copy. where it has to copy, here it has to copy. I'm not going to finish it, but I'm going to take the script out so that the whole lock shipping can be done using this. Click it OK. Before I click it OK, I'll go to script and script out the action. The whole lock shipping configuration will be scripted out, and I can use that script next time I do the configuration. What did it do? Did it script it out? It's not showing the script or what? There is no option.
Script action to new board. First one.
Clip, that's fine. Even clipboard means it will go into the memory.
Okay.
Select server property. What? There are no script items. We don't do it through command, but still I can get the command like this.
No problem, Ravinder. If you have any documentation, please share. Can you please share? I will just read out.
This wizard
Yeah,
configuration,
it will do
right side
everything.
top, above, okay. Script
Which one?
configuration, above, okay.
Above, okay,
Oh,
okay. Okay. Script configuration to clipboard. Let's see this. Lock. F backup. If I click it, okay, it will do the configuration and all. It's fine. So let's F backup. So this is what it is. So this is a script it was doing. So you have to change the parameters when you're doing it. What are the parameters? We need to look for the network path first. And the server names, primary server name and the secondary server name, you have to change it first. Server names, ls backup here, the server, it is a backup path where it is given this. So adding the lock shipping configuration, declaring the variables first. And then here is the scheduler. Where is the server name? It is variable. Using this script, you can do it everything basically. What the lock shipping is doing, it is running the script basically. First, it is doing the add a remote code master add lock shipping primary database. You just have to run on the server. That's it. Server name it is picking up automatically. On whatever the server you run, it will run on that server. It's not taking the server name as a parameter. It just as a script. Take the script and run on the server. It will run on that particular server. Whenever it is running, you have to change these directories: backup directory and the backup directory, and you have to give the job name manually, like the same format. The rest all will be same. Okay, and it is creating the schedule. So when it is adding the scheduler, just it is a name, scheduler name. You can just change it to the server what you are using it. That's it in that step. And then it is on SQL2. SQL2 is just primary. Script to run on the primary. This is also on the SQL2 is a primary. So what this is doing, begin the script to run on the secondary. Over here. So end of the script. This script should run on the primary. That's it. To do the primary configuration, you have to run this on the primary, and this is secondary server configuration. So here also you just have to change the paths. That's it. Nothing else. Everything will be configured as per wizard is given the code, right? So primary server you have to mention here. Wherever the server is given, as a variable, you have to mention and then modify it, then do it. Very few modifications you have to do it, not too many here, very few, and then automate it. That's it. You have to, every time you are running, you have to change the parameters, few parameters. That's it. The code is there. It does automatically everything for you. So now total we have 3 databases here into the log shipping. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and here how do we know that these databases are into the log shipping? Because it is not written here, but here I can see whenever you find the databases like this, standby read-only mode, it is in log shipping. Okay, on the secondary you come to know database in log shipping. So on the primary, how do I know? Generally go to server, properties, report, transaction log shipping status. When you click on that, it will tell us how many databases are involved in log shipping. They might ask you, how do you know that a database is configured into log shipping? You can say them, I can go to log shipping status report. There I can find how many databases are into the log shipping on the server. Because it's not written. See, there are 3 databases, class 1, test. 3 databases are into the log shipping at the moment. And they're running, absolutely running fine, good status. What is the last backup LSN, restored LSN? Last copied, it is not updated here. It should be reports and the reports log shipping status here at least. For the first one at least it should update the what is copied, what is not copied. It is not written here. Why? It will update here actually. What was the last copied LSN was last restored LSN. Let me see one table where this will be fine. I'm just checking it. No need to worry what I'm running. I'm going to explain tomorrow. Log shipping. Okay, I need to use MSD first. And this is secondary, right? Yes. Last copied, and it is now also updated here. It is very bad. I should update that file number. It is 2019. Maybe architecture could be changed, but you'll find the last copied LSN. I mean, last copied backup, last restored backup numbers. It will write here. It's not writing here. How come? Just checking it, guys, internally. What was the database first we have done in the optional class only, right? Log was restored and it is written that at least log number. Yes, it is written here at least. Okay, fine. At least we can for troubleshoot using this. If anything goes wrong, this is where we come and troubleshoot. Tough. Why? Maybe in 2019 architecture could be changed, guys. It should show there itself. We don't need to read the log for that stupid thing, but still, how many times it ran? Only once. It's fine. So let me rerun this. I guess test database I created, right? First, not this. We can find it, no need to worry. I'll show you all the methods. How to find what was the last backup, what is last copied and all. There are many ways to find it. There are many sources to troubleshoot in log shipping, not only one. We'll see all of them. It's weird. It should write the details here. What was last copied, what was last restored. As it is 2019, I don't know like why it was not writing, but till 2016 also it will write. Okay, fine. We'll see all the issues tomorrow, guys. For today, we have what we need to understand is we need to know the architecture. We need to know how to configure. These two only things I have discussed. Actual issues, everything I'll discuss tomorrow. And the scripting, as you asked, this is the script. That's it, as simple as it is. You only have to change the network path as a parameter and the share. What is the network path you have given? These two you have to change. And the name of the backup should be ls backup underscore class because it is a class database. If you are doing another database, mention that database in the script. And then what else you change there? Nothing else. And the scheduler, it is creating the scheduler, you give the server name. Okay, this is the primary server. And what else you change here? Nothing else. Everything should be as it is. And then here you have to change the secondary server. It is written secondary. You have to change the secondary server name and secondary database, what name you wanted to keep on the target. This is the primary already, and the secondary server it is creating with this name and the secondary. If you have it, overwrite it. It is saying that one it can overwrite. That's it. That's it. You can use it the whole script and the primary and the secondary. Change the few things. That's it, and run it. It will build the log shipping for you. But we don't do it with a script. No need to worry. I
Okay.
have done many things, but I used manually, where you need to have the control on the log shipping configuration. Fine, that's all for today. Just we have discussed about the architecture and then configuration.